Oh, I'm sorry. I just realized I didn't have my headphones on. Okay, okay. I hope you can hear me. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Just want to make sure I'm not speaking to myself. Okay.
We can hear you clearly.
Awesome, awesome. So thank you so much for joining us today. Today we're going to be deep diving into the creative industry. There's been so much talk about the entertainment industry, but you know something a bit bigger than that is coming, and that's the creative economy. And the creative economy it encompasses everything you can think of within the creative space, from sports to entertainment to technology to fashion. Everything you can think of is all within the creative economy. So really, really fortunate to be able to have some very, very heavy, I would say heavyweights in the creative space that are going to be sharing their experience, expertise. But don't forget, we also need this space to be officially opened. So give us about 3 minutes. My chairman is going to come and say a few words to officially open up this space. And then, yeah, we'll be good to go. So let's just give it let's give it another minute, if that's okay. And we can then kick off. So 1 minute to go. Thank you. Can you see me, hear me? Okay. Wow. Full house. Chairman, I think it's over to you to do the intro.
Hi, Beverly. Is this me or is this Ihane that you're expecting to come on?
Well, as the chair of the chairs.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for agreeing to join us today. We're looking forward to what I think is a stellar panel of speakers who are very experienced in the creative economy, and I'm looking forward to an interesting discussion, and hopefully at the end of the day we'll learn more about what we can do to support the creative economy. Thank you, and over to you, Beverly.
Thank you so much for that intro. It's a real pleasure once again to welcome you all to this webinar hosted by the NBA, the SBL NBA Committee, Sports, Entertainment and Media. And as said before, I'm the vice chair. And, you know, this is a committee that I'm really, really passionate about because I am a sports, entertainment, and tech lawyer, and I'm very passionate about these three areas. And yes, it's so important that more lawyers get to understand the way this sector, this space works, and all the nuances and idiosyncrasies that go on with these niche areas. So without further ado, I would like to introduce my speakers. I've got some fantastic speakers lined up for you. Here we go. I've got 2 out of 3 so far. Please, ladies, don't crucify me. I know it's March for Women and I didn't get a lady on, but I hope my moderation will balance out the genders. But notwithstanding, there's also amazing women in the creative space. We all know this. So today we've got Obi Asika for you. We've got Ayodele Elegba. We've got Akinyemi Ayonoluwa. And I'm just going to read out their profiles very quickly. They have super long profiles, but I will do my best to keep it short. So I'll start with my big bro, Obi Asika. He is a legend and a veteran in the creative space. He's known for his involvement in the growth of the Nigerian music industry in particular from the 90s. We're talking, he was the founder of Storm 360, an indigenous music label. If you think about Nato C, if you think about Ikechukwu, Sasha P, you know, the people that really started the new era of Afro beats. You can't think of Afro beats and not think of Obi, all right? He's also founding partner of Dragon Africa, and he's also chairman of Outsource Media. And he also was the producer, one of the producers of Big Brother Naija, the first edition. So we're talking someone that has enormous experience. He's worked internationally, domestically, with governments, individuals, companies. He was also appointed to the African Advisory Committee of the Smithsonian National Museum of African Art. So he's an amazing guy. And also check out his current, am I allowed to do this? Check out, well, this is a sports entertainment committee, so we should be. So he has a series right now on Showmax called Journey of the Beats. 10-part series. You need to watch it. And I'm in it. I have a cameo, so make sure you watch it. Next person up, I've got Akinyemi Akinyoluwa, one of my faves, one of my fave music lawyers. He is the most prominent music lawyer in Nigeria as we speak. I kid you not. If you're not following his Instagram handle, you need to be following it. He is the guy he is the money bags. He knows what's up when it comes to music law, okay? And he's done, so he also was in music himself. He's done a lot in music. I think he was also in a band, if my memory serves me right. And Akinyemi Ayoluluwa he's award winning. He's done a lot. He's the partner of High Tower Solicitors. Like I said, they are the premier music law firm in Nigeria. So everything about music, everything about production, everything about split sheets, everything about contract side of things, he's your man. So big welcome to you, Akinyemi. And last but certainly not the least, we've got Ayodele Elegba. He's the dream maker. He makes things happen. He's the king of animation. You know, animation is now taking the world by storm, and he is one of the people that are making their mark in the animation space. He's also the founder of Comic Con. I don't know if any of you have heard of Comic Con. It is the largest gathering of comic and there you go, there you go. It is the largest gathering of comic enthusiasts in Nigeria. He's also internationally recognized for his animation work, and he's also got a training academy that trains aspiring animators as well. So he's really doing his bit, not just to make all the money, but he's also doing his bit to grow and build capacity in the industry. So, you know, I'm so delighted to have these three legends with me today. So we're going to kick off. I'm going to start in the reverse. I'm going to start by asking the first set of questions to Akinyemi, if that's okay. I think this is because I want to make that connection for the audience. We've got an audience of lawyers here today, and I'm sure they're thinking, creative industry, what is that? What is that? How can I get into the creative industry? And I don't know about many of you, but there is a little bit of a reticence between the creatives and the lawyers. You know, it takes a lot to encourage lawyers, to encourage creatives to work with lawyers. So I really want to start by asking Ayodele a direct question, okay? So what, being a veteran in the animation space, you know, what, and I mean, you have a team of about 30 people. That is no small feat. How have you managed to build, you know, an established animation? And we're talking animation, we're not talking film. And I saw something you posted on your WhatsApp the other day, which said, animation is for adults and kids alike. It's not just for kids. How have you been able to, you know, grow a successful business in Nigeria where animation is still kind of trying to gain popularity? And how have you been able to, you know, make your mark in that space? So it'll be good to hear from you. Ayodele. Do we have Ayodele or we don't? Okay, okay. I'll move this around very quickly. If we don't have Ayodele, I'm going to come to Obi. Obi, are you on the line? Are you here? Are you there? Okay. If not, Akiyemi, shall I start with you?
I just got back.
I
don't know if you asked me anything?
Yes, okay. So question to you. You partnered and collaborated with some really, really cool names in the industry. The question I want to ask is, why is collaboration so important in the creative industry? What is it about collaboration, and how are you able to pick the right collaborations? Maybe not every time, because we don't know the backstory. I'm sure you've had your ups and downs, but you know, we only see the positive side. We only see the wins. Ayodele, I'll come back to you. So how do you know how to pick the right collaborations for your projects?
I mean, I think it depends on a couple of things, right? So the first thing is that the energy is correct between you and the partner. And the other thing is that I think in the creative industry specifically, the work is always about collaboration, because you can never deliver a project by yourself. Even if you're the creator of the project, you still need a team to execute all the different elements to make it happen. If you're a production company, or if you're working with a production company.
I think, is that his network? It seems like his network has gone off. Is it me? Yeah, we're having network challenges today. Oh gosh. Okay. Whilst we're waiting for Obi to come back, is he back? Obi, are you back? We're still waiting for Obi.
No, he's not.
Okay. Ayodele, do you wanna answer that question then? I said
So what's the question again?
Creatives are not a fan of lawyers.
Yes,
And-
yes, yes.
Like we're just spitting facts today. We're not beating around the bush with this one.
It took me a while. It took me a while as a person to even embrace lawyers.
Why?
I think
Why?
for me personally, I thought they were an unnecessary evil. You know that were quite very expensive. You know, and for a while I thought, you know, it's not as if I have cases or have litigations or I'll be in court or I'll be arrested. You know, I think most times creative people probably tend to think that it's only for the criminal, they need a lawyer for the criminal side of law. However, there are other areas of law that you need people. So I guess one of the reasons is they feel lawyers are too expensive. They feel they're not making enough money already to even take care of their businesses. Why would I now pay another person who will not even do anything for me? You know, and with the advent of ChatGPT and all this information online, people tend to feel like I can just go online and get a contract and just shake it up and give it to the person and then continue life. You know, so it took me a while to also embrace it, you know, especially having dealt with some certain lawyers also who have showed me shaggy, you know. You know, so so yeah, basically, I think that's one of the reasons why people tend to have this averseness towards lawyers. You know, they feel like they just want to reap where they've not sown, and you know, when you see the retainership they give you, you know, like, wow. So how many times are you going to court for me? You know, if I pay you this amount of money. So there's more to the legal profession than just charge and bill or helping you out when maybe SARS picks you up on the streets or something like that. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm glad to know you think that there's more to it than just charge and bail. But as a creative, your intellectual property is that's your livelihood, you know. As a creative, it's what you create, it's what that is what sets you apart from everybody else. That's how you build your brand, that's how you build your name. Now, you know, I'll probably talk more on the mistakes they're making with Akinyemi, but with you, Ayodele, as a creative, like how did you find the whole process of, you know, getting to grips with, oh, I have something, but how do I protect it? Was it straightforward initially, or how did you struggle with your you know, trying to protect your intellectual property as a creative who doesn't know anything about IP?
Okay, well, what I did when I began my career as we have fully, you know, set up my first business, you know, I think Facebook had started then, you know, so it was the in thing then, you know. So what I did was I tried as much as possible to register all my so-called IPs on Facebook. I'll make sure I post as often as I can, post it on Facebook, tell people I'm working on this, you know, get all the likes and comments. People know about it, like, oh, this belongs to Ayo, you know. So in the early stages, because, you know, when as a creative, when you're starting out, you don't have all the money in the world, you know. You are so focused on the art, you know, you just want to get the art locked down, you know. So you probably don't have any money kept aside for any other person except yourself, you know, taking you to the studio and coming back home. The other thing I did way back then was I used to write scripts. So anytime I write a script, I would package it up in an envelope, write my name on it, go to NIPOST, then email it to myself as well.
That's a good tip.
Yes.
People don't know. Yeah.
Yes, I still have a couple of those that are still not open that are there. Yeah, so that's what basically I try to do. Make sure that it's in the public domain, because I know if I finally get to court, I'll have that as a reference. And something happened to me, you know, sometime during that time. There's this concept that I'm working right now with a French organization. You know, somebody actually wanted to sent me a subpoena, or what do you guys call it? Sent me a letter that, look, I am infringing on his IP, blah, blah, blah. That one of my comic books resembles his book, that he's taking me to court, blah, 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 blah. You know, luckily for me, that particular comic title was everywhere on social media, was everywhere. You know, it sold copies already. You know, I've printed copies that sold copies already. So it was easy for my lawyer then to say, look, this guy doesn't have any case, you know, C. So we wrote him back.
Oh dear. The network is not on our side today. Please bear with us. This is Nigeria.
Can I talk about my service provider?
Please. Okay. Obi, I want to bring you back in. Ayodele can come in after Akinyemi. So Obi, I was saying to you, collaboration, why is it so important in the creative space? And what you know, what is it that lawyers should pay, I guess, particular mind? Because, you know, creatives are very, the way you guys think is very different. It's very, you can't run these things on your own. You rely on teams, whether you're in the music business, whether you're in film production or animation or whatever. You need teams to make things happen. So, you know, could you just share some highlights of maybe some of your biggest projects, for instance?
Yeah, I hope MTN will keep me in the loop this time.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I just had to give them some love. But no, first of all, thanks a lot for inviting me in here.
You're welcome.
Just to the other panelists, both of whom I know and have known for a long time, I'm a big supporter of Comic-Con. My man, I haven't seen him for a while. Nice to see you, man. But what I was going to say is that collaboration is, I think it comes naturally to me anyway. I come from a legal background, so I've always understood that even when you're doing your collaboration, you have to have a firm view of what is happening on the legal side. I think there are many different types. There's franchising, there's bringing major brands into the market, big production companies, things we've done for over the last 25 years. So we've done a lot of that. But I think the most important collaboration is the internal collaboration, okay? Like being a support system for the creative. So whether it's a superstar artist, whether it's a brand or a platform, all of those things need professional services to actually manifest, whether it's legal services, accounting, auditing, tax advice. If you see a billionaire artist or a superstar artist, all of that stuff is already in place and is sorted out, and that's why they're successful. So they can focus on what they're actually good at, which is creating. A lot of times in Nigeria, you hear people say, oh, there's no structure. It's deflection. There's no structure in Nigeria. It's not the creative industry, okay? So there's no retail, there's no distribution. Those are issues of the wider society. You know, we haven't yet worked out formal retail or in this country. We haven't yet worked out distribution across about 200 industries. So to lay it on the table of the creative industry is kind of ridiculous to me. And I think where we're at as a country is that by 2030, the creative economy of Nigeria will be at $100 billion, with or without government. So I think for lawyers, it's obvious that you need to be in this space. You need to be supporting and advising players in this space, either from the startup level of the basic low-level players or the guys who are at the head of the table. But the truth of the matter is, I live in an age, I remember when AOL bought CNN, right? You know, it was totally disruptive. What was this small internet startup doing buying CNN for $4 billion? All that sort of thing is going to keep happening in Nigeria. We're going to see fintechs buy banks. We're going to see this consistently happen because everything is rebooting. And I think that in Nigeria, without collaboration needs to be our superpower. And the collaboration is across sectors. It's within the creative industries, but it's also with distribution, right? We need distribution, we need access. And a lot of these things, even what Ayo was saying about IP, we need IP to be collateral for finance. Because if you go into the real...
Oh, and he was on a roll there. Okay, he was on a roll. Akiyemi, I'm going to bring you in right now. Akiyemi, sorry, I need to just give you your proper, what's it called? Let me read it out properly. So, partner, co-founder at Hightower Solicitors and Advocates. His music law practice focuses on the representation of recording artists, songwriters, record producers, labels, investors in music. And he also dabbled a bit in the entertainment industry directly as a songwriter, recording artist, composer, and performer. So you know what? The first question I was going to ask you is redundant, because the first question I was going to ask you is, the law practice is so conventional. It's so conventional. And we all know that the creative industry can be a bit of a, you know, it's very niche. It's very, everybody knows everybody. how did you break in? How did you break away from that legal mold to kind of blend? I mean, you already were part of it, so maybe that gave you advantage, but I'll let you talk. I'll let you share with the audience your story. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. Hello, everybody. I'm excited to be here. So for me, my foray in music law or entertainment law started from me wanting to be a recording artist and songwriter. And I did that all through my years at the University of Lagos as a student. And then immediately I qualified as a lawyer. That came back to me like I needed to do something about my love for music. And when I was in my third year as a university student, I recall that I read an interview by Audu Maikori. And from reading the interview, I recall that he mentioned that, he owned Chocolate City and he was also an entertainment lawyer. So that gave me some form of clarity that, well, since I failed to kind of, in local parlance, blow up as a recording artist, perhaps I could be like Audu Maikori, I could own a Chocolate City, and I could also be a practicing lawyer who is taking care of, entertainers and investors in the entertainment industry. Unfortunately, just about the same period, because I was fresh out of law school, and I was asking myself, what am I going to do with this law degree? Because I was really, really consumed by the idea of, still chasing music, but I was wary of failing as a recording artist. So I just went after the path that I was already beaten and, where Chocolate City was shining and Audu Maikori was also shining. And I then modeled myself. And in chasing Audu Maikori, I learned of other lawyers doing exploits, such as my big uncle, Obi Asika, the likes of Efe Ozako, the late Efe Ozako, and also Abraham and Co. I'm struggling to remember the name now. RMD's lawyer. So I got more clarity that, well, I could work in this space. But the major challenge for me now as a fresh lawyer was, how do I get the trust of, players in the space to really see me as one of them? Because I still remember that I went back to my, to where I grew up, and I was trying to communicate what I was feeling towards entertainers and all of that, but it was very, very difficult to connect with them. But I would say the reason why I'm still doing what I'm doing, despite all the challenges, is because of my initial love for music. I wanted to, be like the next Two-Face Idibia, the next R. Kelly, but I think I failed in that chase. But now I get to live vicariously through my clients, and it's been a wonderful ride. And it is my love for music that is still sustaining the practice that I have. And if you look at all the associates that work at my firm, at one point or the other, everybody knows the idea of being a songwriter or recording artist. So there's that strong pull for almost all the lawyers in my law firm. The lawyer representing filmmakers.
Oh, the network is not helping today. Not today, not today. Okay, but you know what? I'm really enjoying the conversation so far. So far, what we've got from Obi Asika is collaboration is the key to building a successful career in the creative industry, all right? Whether you're in filmmaking or in music, it's about bringing teams together. So collaboration is really at the heart of the creative industry. And he also mentioned something about the need to work with professionals. So don't be fooled by the no structure, no structure. Everybody needs structure, and you can get that structure even within the smallest setup. And like I said, Ayodele Elegba, he's got an animation. In fact, he's being very humble now because he does a lot more than, he has an animation training studio. He has an animation production team. He does a lot of public speaking. He does quite a lot within that value chain of animation. And you cannot achieve all those things without building that internal structure. That's working with the tax people, with the lawyers. So I hope lawyers who are listening today are thinking, okay, I think I could get my legs in here. And the good thing about the creative industry is, at heart, all humans are creative. So there will be something for you somewhere. Ayodele, you're nodding away. I want to bring you back on. You were really flowing, and then you got cut off. So I want you to just, if you can, remember where you stopped. Just carry on.
Well, what I think I want to add, because this is the NBA and we have lawyers listening in and all that. I would like to say that Steve Jobs said something. Said people don't know what they want until they see it. Okay, and I think it's the same thing with lawyers. A creative person doesn't really think that he needs a lawyer until he's able to meet one that can actually connect. And when I signed on with Olisa Bakoba, who are our lawyers now, Beverly, she was able to make me realize that lawyers are like partners, they're like friends, they're like people who actually watch your back. And I run an event called Lagos Comic Con. It's the biggest comic book event in Africa. Last year we had over 6,000 crazy people, in the venue. We're having it again this year in September.
I was there.
Yes. My big brother was there, so he anchored the session and he enjoyed himself. Hope you'll be coming again this year. I'll bring you back this year, sir.
Of course, no.
So imagine having so much people, and most of them, and they don't have lawyers. Most of them don't have lawyers. So I think that is a call to the bar, the lawyers out there, to say, look, how can we craft something, I don't know, craft something for them, In fact, there was an idea I was toying with recently about like a collective, imagine having a law firm that handles comic book makers, and it's like services them on a retainership or something. So, but I think that the creative industry needs lawyers. I read Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, way back then when I was still, So, and it dawned on me how much you could lose, when your IP is not secured. Right now we're in the process of securing all our IPs, all our stories and our animations. We're trying to, secure them properly, both international and locally. So it's very, very important, because at the end of the day, if you build all this building on top of this foundation and somebody yanks that foundation out, everything you built just disappears. So this is a call to lawyers to really pay more attention to the creative space and see what they can create, maybe packages of stuff that can that creative people can actually tap into and use to help their business to grow further.
Nice. I want to bring Obi back in here. Thank you for that, Ayodele. I really like that. It's a call to the bar, literally a call to the bar. Okay, sorry about my dry joke. So Obi, I always like hearing about money. Sorry, I'm an Igbo girl. You said something about the value of the creative industry. It was like, I love how you guys are kind of preempting all my questions, because my question to you was, where do you see the creative space today in terms of value, in terms of, how competitive we are on a global scale? And where do you see us, say, if we position ourselves in the next 5 years? Like, how big can this thing be? And do you mind just, drilling down a little bit? Because not everybody here might really understand what the creative space is. I see Obi has kind of signed off, so Akinyemi can easily handle this question too. Could we just give people a bit of a quick, concise description? The creative industry. How many sectors, or what are the broad sectors in the creative industry? We know you are in the music space, but could you just give a quick overview of the creative sector at least, and where you see Nigeria playing, and what's the outlook for the future? Okay.
Yes, so Nigeria has never been lacking in creativity. The creative industry is all industries that benefit from, the end product of human innovation and creativity. So almost all industries benefit from the extraction of products we can all use to solve problems or enjoy, or products that define our civilization in a way that we are better for it, that some people have gone through so many processes to bring something out of thin air into something we can see use. So in Nigeria, from time immemorial, we've always been very, very creative, and you can see all of that in many parts of our culture, from the knock arts. You could also see from time immemorial, you can find paintings, you could see dance, and even more recently, we've had giants like the likes of Wally Shirika, Fela Nicola Kuti, and the likes. But in more recent times, if I was going to list out all the industries that are connected to the creative industry, I would say I'll start with my own industry, the music industry. Then I'll mention film and animation, comedy, all kinds of production, event production, music production. You'd also talk about the media. Even the new media is a subset of the creative industry. And there are many, many industries that are connected to the creative industry. So ultimately, Nigeria now is in a period where, through the power of technology, we're able to have products that can, define culture in different territories almost at the same time. So now our film, our music, our influencers can have products that can influence and touch lives en masse. Millions of people are impacted by Nigerian culture just off watching a Nigerian film. Now they understand what Oga, Shaman, Ewo, the meaning of all those things that ordinarily without technology or the platform to distribute, that wouldn't have been the case. Also, we have very powerful homegrown talent whose music bring joy and excitement to millions in far-flung parts of the world. So that is the power of Nigerian creativity. But we have to do a better job. Can you hear me? So we have to do a better job of properly extracting the value, because obviously all these things we are creating has potentials to, contribute to the economy, so that our entrepreneurs, our investors, even the practitioners in different industries connected to the creative industry can earn some, compensation and profit. And also even the government of the day, at the end of the day, ultimately, there will be taxes generated from the exploitation, from the commercial exploitation. So one thing we need to get, one thing we need to do properly is to collectively, when we look at Hollywood, or we look at what is going on with K-pop, or we look at what's going on with the music industry in America, in Germany, and in the UK, the government of the day understands the value that is created by these creative industries in their domain, and they do everything they can to have a united front. So the government is in concert with the investors, with the practitioners, and everybody tries to do what's best for the industry, so that the industry can continue to sustain itself and it can continue to prosper. Because if we have $1 billion filmmaking industry, like we generate $1 billion every year out of Nigeria, out of Nollywood, it would tell the local economy would be better for it. Also, investors would be better for it. Also, our superstars would also benefit from it. And before we know, a certain part of Lagos could just be the hub for Nollywood, and then that would continue to expand. There are already models outside of the country where you can tell that it is because of the prosperity of Silicon Valley of the tech companies here. That is why the prosperity keeps expanding. And you can tell from the income that goes to the states, you can tell from the increase in the standard of living, and there could be so many ripple effects from that. So I hope with these few words, I've been able to shed light, on how important our creative industry can be.
Thank you. Yes, I think you have. It's so vast. It's extremely vast. And this is just the starting point for anybody that really wants to take a deep dive. I want to bring Ayodele back. I think it'll be great to hear a bit more about how you've carved out a successful career. And what was it about animation? In Nigeria, we have Nollywood, right? As far as film goes. So we're very familiar with that. Nollywood goes back at least 40 years now, but animation is fairly new, right? Now, first of all, what was the attraction to animation for you? And again, to quote you, or to quote that post that you put up, that animation is not just for kids, it's actually for adults and kids as well. So why are we not seeing the uptake? But you know what, we're new to this. Perhaps that where something is new, it means that the opportunity is massive. So maybe you want to just share with us why animation and what you see, what's your expectations for the animation industry in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. Well, I've always loved animation. I've always been a lover of animation. I've loved Disney cartoons, the Little Mermaids of this world, Lion King, Aladdin. I grew up on Disney. And even right now, Disney is like my mentor. Is like one of the mentors I follow right now, even as I create my studio. So since I've been a kid, I've always been a storyteller. I've always scribbled something on paper. I've always told stories. My mom always loved telling me stories when I was younger. So I just grew up in that art space, growing up. However, I almost lost track because when I was in my secondary school days, they were like, "Hey, guy, you're too brilliant. You're too smart to be in art class. So go to science class." So for another 8 years of my life, I was stuck in the lab, in the test tube, doing technological stuff until I finished school and I was serving. And I was working in a hospital then, and an HIV patient came in and he wanted to take blood. I was like, "Ayo, go and take the blood." My supervisor was like, "Go and take the blood." So I just rushed down to take the blood, and I took the blood. And suddenly, as I was about putting the needle head back in place to store the blood, the needle got into my hands and I got pricked. I was like, "Yay!" So my supervisor was like, "Ayo, this place is not for you. I think you should go and find your calling, because I always come to work with a sketch pad, come to work with a story pad. I'm always writing, drawing, in the corner when there's no client. So for 8 months, I was testing myself for HIV/AIDS for 8 months just to be sure I had not got HIV/AIDS. Okay, so but later on, I realized that I can't run away from my shadow. I need to do what I'm created to do, and I believe that even this creativity, everybody is creative, okay, but there are some people based on their temperament, their build-up, their backgrounds, they've been wired to succeed at some things. And I must confess that not everybody can be a very good musician like all these other actors that you see making all that money. There are certain things that wires us to be good at certain things. Some of us are wired to be at the back end, of things. I remember one of my staff, he came, he said, "Wants to be an animator." I said, "An animator?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Can I see your sketch?" He showed me his sketch, and I was like, I looked at his age bracket. I was like, "Don't you think you want to look at digital painting instead?" He was like, "Okay, sir, whatever you say, I trust you. Whatever you say, let me try it out." Right now, this guy is one of the best digital painters in this country. He just relocated to Canada just recently. He got a job in Canada, and I was so happy for him. And this just in the span of just 2 years or 2 or 3 years, he became that big. So for me, I saw a gap. And that's why I started Lagos Comic Con. I saw a gap for creative people to be nurtured. I have this sense that the creative industry doesn't have enough mentors. We don't have enough mentors in this space. So everybody's just jumping in, everybody's just doing what they think, Someone is singing in the bathroom. He thinks his voice is the best. He wants to go and wax a record, you know. But with mentorship, it's easier for people to guide you and say, look, why don't you go for training, go for coaching? Okay, maybe you're not built for this type. You know, not everybody will be a director, a film director. Some people are just good behind the cameras, you know, just holding the camera or even acting. You might not be able to do a particular part of that industry, but there's always a space for everybody. So you need to find where you are. So for me, after many years also working for someone, I decided to just resign my job and start something for myself because the passion was so much there. I really wanted to do this. And I saw there was a big gap, especially when I began, nobody was doing 2D animation. I was one of the pioneers that brought back 2D animation to this country. And right now, 2D animation is even more sought after than even 3D animation right now. So I think that's just my journey in a nutshell. I hope I've been able to like capture some aspects of my life.
No, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And I like the nuggets of wisdom you drop in there about, look, everybody has something they are good at. And, that also kind of reinforces my belief that even lawyers can be very creative because, somebody has to organize this webinar, somebody has to write books, somebody has to, there's creativity in everybody that, that can be harnessed and exploited. But I want to also, remembering that this is for lawyers, for the benefit of them learning, I want to get Akinyemi to come back up and just give us some of the typical mistakes you see creatives make. I don't want to put Ayodele on the spot. I don't want him to say what his mistakes he's made. That wouldn't be nice. But Akinyemi, you don't have to say who anybody is, of course, law of confidentiality. But can you because the thing is, the purpose of this webinar is to help lawyers get equipped on what are the pain points and weak areas that creatives are kind of experiencing. Ayodele has already alluded to that guess what? There's a whole group out there of animators, creatives that don't have any legal advisor. They don't. So that's a massive pool of creatives that at least 30 people on this webinar can potentially say, hey, I can get a new client from there. But I think sometimes it's important to be guided. Just like you said, mentorship is very important. So Akinyemi, could you just share, even though it's music specific, some of the pitfalls that creatives tend to make? So just for the benefit of the audience. Thank you.
I think it's mute.
Oh yeah, thank you. So I would really focus on two things, which I find, with filmmakers, photographers, putting out. So one thing is, a lot of the creatives do not take out the time to understand the journey of the end product that they create, the journey of that end product to the market. So what it means is, okay, you're a very good photographer, you know how to take the best pictures, but how do you monetize? What is like the value chain? What are the different streams of income that can be extracted from the end product of your creativity? And without properly educating yourself, there is the likelihood of falling into so many pitfalls. So if you do not understand that, oh, there's a whole marketplace for what I'm creating, and this is how all the people that are involved in this space, this is how they make money. So if I'm a songwriter now, and I don't understand how songs can become classics that generate thousands of dollars on a monthly basis, then I wouldn't be able to make the best decision for myself in dealing with other people. For example, working in music or in film, it is very collaborative. You can't even do it by yourself. So you need to understand that, okay, my work, when it gets into the hands of a producer, this is how much value will be added. And then when eventually a recording artist gets hold of the recording and performs it and makes a whole new record, this is what my contribution is likely to become in the end product. And this is what I can benefit when this song takes off, when it is being exploited on radio, in TV, in games, or when it lands on the chart. So if you're educated in that manner, you would be well prepared because you would always look out for your own interest. You will lean on the advice of people who know better than you do. And at every step of the way, you will be assured in yourself that, okay, I know the value chain, something is coming back to me. And I'm, working with that assurance. That's number one. Number two, which I really, really find is a lot of people, they are not welcoming of the fact that they need a strong team. And a strong team could be in two folds. It could be a creative team and a business team. So if you are like a performing artist, an actor, actress, singer, it would be very, very good to find a team that helps you get better creative-wise. And also it would be good for the exploitation of your work to also have a team, maybe a talent manager, maybe a publicist. You should even get a lawyer who understands the field where you're working, who understands the market. And with a combination of, everybody coming with their own contributions, because usually when you are winning as an artist, as an investor, your team is also winning because they understand that if this person shines, maybe I get a bigger retainer fee next year. So everybody's working and working hard to see that you win. So those are the two big things that I think it's a common occurrence for me. I've represented all kinds of characters. It was only 2019 that I just said, I'm just going to stick to music. I'm not going to do filmmakers. I'm not going to do anything else. And I think that was a very good decision for me at the time. Thank you very much.
Just to add, can I add to that?
Go in, Ayodele, go in.
I think one major thing that for me as a creative person, I realized is that we are too friendly, yeah. Creative people are too friendly. We are too nice.
Not all.
Maybe those ones are not very creative. Someone actually
not recording artists.
Exactly. They are temperamental.
No,
they are very temperamental.
They've shown me shaking.
No, yeah. What I mean is maybe they have this fear for lawyers, because when a creative person hears lawyer, he's afraid. He's very afraid because even the lawyer is even for him, he's already even afraid of the lawyer, So I think one of the things, the selling point that any lawyer that wants to grab a creative person, I think the selling point should be, look, you are always doing paddy. Beverly knows what happened to me recently. I lost all my data just because I was doing paddy with someone. Sometimes somebody comes to you, I was like, oh, so I just want to draw a sketch for you. Do you want to see? And before you know what's happening, you've seen it. You've opened the page, you've seen what he has to do, and then he slams a lawsuit on you and says, look, you've seen it, you stole my idea, you saw my idea yesterday, and you came out with this product today. So one of the things I am learning is to be able to balance that, and that's why I have lawyers, because now, recently, I think Beverly, you just did a contract for me yesterday. Normally, I wouldn't have done that contract. I would have just an invoice would have been okay. An invoice with just probably a note under saying blah, 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 blah. But I had to do a contract.
Terrible.
So I think, yeah. And that's what many creatives do. Like I said, there's a huge market. There's a big market for lawyers there. So I think that more creative people should get a lawyer, because even when it comes to negotiation, sometimes you meet somebody who wants to negotiate with you, and then because you're hungry, because you need that deal so badly, you just rush in and take a deal that you're not okay with. But when you have a lawyer in the room with you and the person is teaching you and saying, look, can we have a word? This thing is worth more than you're about to take. You know, and the person calms you down and settles you and says, look, let me talk on your behalf. You will probably make a better deal, you know, having someone do that negotiation for you. So I think being nice is good as creative people, because it's what helps our creative juice to flow. We like to be happy, you know, we are smoking, we are dancing, we are everywhere having fun. We always like to have fun to keep the juice going. But then we need someone to back us up and take care of the back end and say, look, okay, you're dancing, let me take care of the serious parts. You're scattered brain, let me get every details together and get this thing set for you. So I hope I've been able to just contribute a little bit to that question. Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, more than Akinyemi gave us the lowdown from the legal side, Ayodele was able to take us into the mindset of the creative. They like to be happy, apparently. So they can be prone to exploitation, because it's true. I'm telling you, even it's not unheard of for some lawyers to even take advantage of their clients. So yeah, it's a very, very delicate, and it's a position of authority to be able to handle the legal affairs of your clients. So it's not something to take lightly at all. I think I saw OB, but I don't know, his network has not been helpful today. And I know we're kind of running out of time, because this is
anytime he's in the room, there's something new to learn.
I know, he's just,
I know. So it's really sad that MTN is.
I know. It's just, maybe we'll have to do another one, who knows. But I want to give you all an opportunity to give some closing comments and remarks. The thing is, I actually don't know if people are meant to, I'm really sorry about this. I wasn't sure if people could ask questions. Please,
are there questions? Are there the questions?
Ayodele, are we co-hosting? It's fine, I'm just teasing. All in the spirit of creativity. Yeah, if we have any questions, we could just take a couple of questions, you know, not 5 minutes or so, so we don't take too much more time. And if I don't see any questions in the next 2 minutes, then I'm going to assume that what everybody heard today is more than enough, and everybody is really geared up and pumped up to go get some creative clients. But yeah, honestly, I think definitely I've learned so much. You know, you always learn when you're around creatives and people who work in the creative space, like Akinyemi. Like I said, you need to be listening, you need to be watching his Instagram. It's so good. Akinyemi Law. Honestly, you learn something new every day from his Instagram page. Just so informative, really. I think, I don't know, I don't see any questions, so I don't want to plug it. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for dropping by. Ayodele, thank you for sparing your time. Obi, you're not here on the call right now, but you know, I'm always grateful and thankful to you. And Akinyemi, my brother, thank you. Really appreciate it. Since there's no questions, I'm going to hand back. Are there any questions? Are there?
Questions in the Q&A box.
Are there? I don't see it. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Oh my goodness. I nearly closed this off. Okay. So, okay, quickly. So very quickly, I'll just take these 4 questions. The first one from Paula is, how can the gap be bridged between lawyers and upcoming artists? Akinyemi, that one is for you. Comforter says, hello, everyone. Hello back. Answered. Akinyemi, that's for you.
Okay. So I think you need to become a member of the community. So as a young lawyer, the cheat code is to always go where they congregate. As a young lawyer, I was always going to Bogobiri then. Bogobiri was the hangout spot for a lot of creatives in Lagos, like 12, 13, 10, 9 years ago. That used to be a very big deal. Every Thursday, people come, you know, the powerful guys in the industry, talent managers. You just need to be a part of the community. That is what I think, you know, will build the connection and the trust. The more they see of you, then they can learn to trust. Also, you have to add value in some way. So my making noise on Twitter, giving out free information, as far back as 8, 9, 6, 7 years ago. Also, with what I do on Instagram now, it helps to kind of like build a connection. So people act like they know me already and they can easily trust. Oh, we're having this. Can you come out? Our artist is having a launch. You want to come see this new artist is talented. Oh, and that is how lawyers can, start to collaborate with the creative community. You don't want to represent filmmakers, you have to go to where they hang out. You have to be one of them. They have to know you on a first name basis. And that is how you deepen your connection. So those are the two cheat codes that I think would help any young lawyer watching. I know a lot of our older lawyers are very reluctant to hang out with like 18-year-olds or 21-year-olds or 25-year-olds. But the younger lawyers can easily, find themselves in all these rooms. And because for me, music is a very, very young man's sport. I think the drivers of culture are young people. Can't be seen to be aloof. You have to be seen as one of them. And that is what would allow them to trust. Although being experienced and old also has its advantage. But to really, really have a connection, you have to meet people at where they are most comfortable. That's what I believe.
Thank you. Obi, I'm going to ask you a question because you've been off and on a little bit to give you some airtime. So somebody is asking, do you need interest or experience in the creative industry? I mean, this is kind of a legal perspective question, but I know you've got that 360-degree view on life. So I know you can probably take this question. So she's asking, do you need a keen interest or experience in the creative industry to thrive in the creative industry, would you say?
Well, it depends on what you're doing. If you're trying to be a creative, if you don't have that, you have no chance, right? If you're trying to be a service provider to a creative, you need to be the best at what you do. So you need to know the contracts the best. You need to know the way to collaborate the best. You need to know how to frame the partnership the best. You don't necessarily need to know that it's a good song or it's a good story or it's a good film, because we're not looking to the lawyers for the aesthetic, oh, I picked the film. No. You're a fan. Enjoy the product, right? So that I hope that answers it.
It does. I said that your mind is very big.
I just wanted to say something before I get cut off. Before I get cut off again.
Okay, please.
We're working on a high level. There's a high level effort going on right now to try to get the president to sign off on a creative industry bill. And we're going to try to we've been doing some stakeholder sessions, and it's a very focused effort because we feel that the creative industries need to be standalone, right? Not lost in government. And this is something that I'm going to come back to the SBL. I'd like to have a situation where we have a sort of stakeholder session with the SBL so you guys can interrogate what we're trying to do and be part of that process. Because I think what we've seen already is that policy and regulation can help to unlock more. And what we're talking about really, and I think the most important thing for lawyers to look at in terms of the creative industries in Nigeria is IP. Right? Intellectual property, ideas are the future. We're already in the age of ideas. So if you can help us protect the ideas, protect the original stories, protect the code, get our geographical indicators out there. Because what we're sitting on in Nigeria is the wealth that builds continents, right? And that wealth is intangible. It's actually us. It's the human IP that is unlocking everything else. So if you can get the lawyers to understand this, it's not about lack of structure. Los Angeles, Paris, Beijing, Berlin have been managing IP for 250 years. There's no excuse for Africa not to be able to invest in African stories, to understand that the most powerful.
Network again, just when he was getting into it. Okay.
But you can see. Listen to Obi Asika.
I know. And he's in policy. I'm glad he just mentioned the work he's doing behind the scenes with the creative industry bill. It's big, and hopefully he'll be able to tell us a bit more once he comes back online. I have another question here. This one is for you, Ayodele. Do we have lots of women in the comic community? Do we have lots of women?
Yeah, we do. We do have lots of women. The good thing about the comic industry is that it's a bit, it has different value chain. For example, we have people who are just illustrators. There are some who are just digital painters, some write the stories, some do the texts, and some do the graphics. So in that value chain, we have lots of women. For example, I think my office, I have almost a 60-40% rating of women in my office. There are about 40% of women in my office right now working for me. So yes, there are women in industry, and we try to take care of them. However, I think they need lawyers also to take care of their rights as women in the creative space. So yes, so to answer the question, yes, there are women in this comic industry. Yes, there are.
Okay. The second question is for you too. It says, well, I mean, Akinyemi can take it. It says, what does Ayo suggest as the best way for lawyers to reach the comic community in Nigeria? Attend Comic-Con. You need to go to Comic-Con. I've answered the question. No, carry on, Ayodele, please. Are there seminars? You also have your training institute, right? So,
yes. Yeah, so I think Akinyemi has touched on a bit of them, meaning you need to find them, know where they hang out, know where they are. There are a couple of events going on in pockets here and there. For example, there's an event coming up next week in Ibadan. It's a mini Comic-Con in Ibadan. Somebody's trying to pull off something there. So you need to find where those people are. But most especially, you also need to befriend those who are like the heads in those industry. For example, someone like me, for example, if I say, look, I know this person, I know this lawyer, definitely everybody will definitely just give you trust. You have trust already because they have trust in me. I give you my trust, they have trust in you. And that's why coming to Comic-Con is very, very important. We're trying to create a session. I think Beverly is going to host that for us in Comic-Con this year, where we're going to bring some lawyers in to also come and talk and also discuss with us why we need lawyers, the importance of lawyers, in the creative space. So yes, you need to find where they are. You need to be online. Most of them are creative people. Generally, are always online. We are very averse to going out. We don't like going out. We are always snuck up in our rooms, in our homes, just creating. We are like geeks, just creating and all that. So, but better if you're online, if you're joining platforms like Lagos Comic-Con platform, Comic Panel, there are a number of platforms online that you can join and see what they are doing, and then you can reach out to them. Guys, have you copyrighted this? Do you have access to this? Have you done this? Do you have a structure now? Have you backed this up legally? How do you employ your staff? Do you give them contracts before they start working for you? Then you can begin to reach out to them. Yeah. But top of all, Comic-Con is the place to be. You need to be at Comic-Con to network. And can I ask a question, Bev? Is it true that lawyers don't advertise?
You're not allowed to under the RPC rules, no.
Oh, but do you have complimentary cards?
Yeah, we have complimentary cards.
Yeah, so if you just come to Lagos Comic-Con, 6,000 people, complimentary cards, pass it around and see who like your face and like how you do your law, and then start business.
Okay. Great. I think we're out of time now. It's 6 minutes past, and I don't want to take up any more time. But just to say, it's been really, really. Oh, okay. We can extend by 15 minutes. Are we good? I need to get. Are you guys good to go another 10? We've done 6, so give or take, we've got 10 minutes. Are we good? Okay.
Have more questions?
Okay. All right. There was one other question there. Sorry, let me just, I think that question was about, oh, sorry, I'm trying to bring it up on my screen. Okay, so thank you for the question. This is from Theophilus. And my question is, how can lawyers access precedents, documents, templates to assist in building that documentation experience for creatives? I think that's for Akinyemi.
Yeah, so there are different platforms online that you can subscribe to, to get precedents. That's number one. Number two, you could have like a mentor that is holding you by the hand, and you give them enough value, open up their resource to you as well, so that you can leverage all the precedents they've got. So I get a lot of young lawyers coming up to me, you know, they do not add any value to me, but they just want to get juice from me. And I think that is an unfair situation for you not even to take the time to want to build a relationship with someone. And the first thing you're doing is just sending an email or sending a direct message on Instagram to ask for precedent. So those are the two ways that I think you could access templates.
I mean,
You have like a role model,
okay.
mentor, leverage on that, or you could just subscribe to some legal document platform.
And also, just to chip in, there's lots and lots of training. I think there's so much emphasis now on niche professional legal training. So I would be very surprised if you couldn't find entertainment law training near you, or you go online and you look for entertainment law training or contract law so it's about researching the specific type of creative area you want to practice in. Trust me, I personally, just to attest to what Akinyemi just said, I personally subscribe to Fashion Law Institute. I subscribe to loads of IP platforms, contract platforms. There's so many platforms that you can subscribe to. So there's really no excuse, I guess, in this modern day and age, not to, get access to knowledge, whether that's mentorship, which, you may or may not be lucky to get that. People are super busy. Or you just go online and you subscribe and you get all this free access to news and things. So that's kind of my 2 cents, my 2 kobo, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't see any more questions, and sadly, I don't think Obi is coming back. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Chiamaka, and read widely. That always helps. Okay. Ifoma says, oh, it's just a comment. Thanks for the exposition. I appreciate the knowledge, and thanks to the presenter and the guests, and it's been worthwhile. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you enjoyed it and it wasn't a waste of your time, because I know time is very precious and you could be doing something else, but you chose to be with us today. So on that note, I would like to bring this officially to an end. It's been really, really great having Akinyemi, Ayodele, and Obi, despite the battle with internet and whatnot. I would like to invite the chair of chairs back to maybe share some parting comments, if possible. I also see another member of the council. I see Olajide Ayoyinka as well. I don't know if she wants to say any last words before we close out. If not.
Let me apologize. I'm actually in the car at the moment, and I didn't expect to say a few words. Just to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to all the speakers. In spite of the technology challenges, very interesting session. And what he emphasizes to me is that we do need to get deeper and deeper into this discussion. There's lots to talk about. And I would just make a quick comment around the Creative Industries Bill. In whatever way we can help, I am making a commitment on behalf of the Council of the SBL that we want to help and we want to participate in this engagement. So, Sports Entertainment Committee, you will take the lead obviously of this, and in whichever way the Council can support, we will support. So thank you to everybody. Thanks for staying online. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful rest of the week, and happy voting for those of you voting. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.